Hello, this is Emily Ainelli of T-Girl Angel, and I am proud to say that I've been selected to make a speech at my support group meeting this Wednesday in Bayshore, New York on November 25th. We are celebrating, or we are commemorating, I should say, those lost this year in the transgender community to murder and suicide, and that will take place in Bayshore at 34 Park Place in Bayshore, New York, at the LGBT Community Center, and I'm proud that I will be a participant November 25th. My speech, I'm going to read my speech and my poem that I'm going to recite after my speech. And I know it's going to be within the parameters of the time frame. The name of my speech is called No Boundaries. No boundaries. Well, first, let me address the audience and let me share my appreciation that you all came here to be together, to recognize the sad and tragic truth that once again the transgender community has been hit hard in so many ways. We, as a group of people, still are seeking to be recognized in many life situations and circumstances, and allowed to be able to live our lives free of the fear that we may encounter as a result of misinformation, discrimination, hate, violence. When will we stop hearing of yet another transgender girl being murdered for just trying to be her authentic self? Why can't people realize that transgender people are just trying to live their lives as they always felt they should? When will it be safe where anyone who truly identifies as transgender can liberate themselves so they can find the inner peace and happiness they are seeking to be true to who they are? Transgender people come from all walks of life. There is no hard rule in who is prone to being transgender. It just is a part of everyday life. People must realize that we cannot help the way we feel. Most of us knew at an early age. For myself personally, I was 3 years old when I knew I felt different. But I didn't know anything about what it was that I was experiencing other than just a deep feeling and connection that I was meant to be a girl. I know that life cannot always be explained and certain things are hard to grasp, but that doesn't mean that we as a community have to continue to be on alert because of the potential dangers we may face in just trying to be who we are. I look across this room and I see all types of people, and I know you all have your own personal story, which is very important because we all need to be able to find what it is that we need to do in addressing our own experiences in being transgender. When we come upon an article or hear of a sad and tragic end to a transgender person's life, it truly is heartbreaking because it isn't supposed to be this way. We all have our own struggle, each and every one of us, and I truly feel sad every time I read or hear of another transgender person lost to ignorance and hatred, fueled by prejudice and the failure to come to accept someone for being different. We, as a community, have one of the highest attempted and actually committed suicide rates that is alarming, approaching, and at last glance is nearing 45% last I checked. We, as a community, are losing many transgender women to murder, motivated by hate and ignorance. Why is it so hard for anyone to understand that being transgender is a legitimate medical issue and that anyone who identifies as such should be accepted and embraced for who they are, rather than belittled and judged harshly? I never felt comfortable growing up, and I lived in complete secrecy for nearly 5 decades in my life, and I paid an emotional price that I don't want our transgender youth to have to face. It is necessary that we allow our youth in the community to find places where they can open up and have the support they need, because being transgender is a lifelong circumstance. If you look at the landscape, you will find many types of people who fit the classification of transgender identified. There is no way to truly express the magnitude of pain we all feel as we see how many transgender people are lost this year to murder and suicide. We try to celebrate the lives these people lived in their pursuit of being true and happy. It's very unfortunate and heartbreaking they are no longer with us, and I offer all of you, as a show of support, to extend your hands to one another, and as form of solidarity to our lost brothers and sisters. We must be strong to live our lives and take strength in knowing that there is unity in numbers, and as we are all joined together, we will always know in our heart that we all deserve to live our lives the way we feel we should. And you know something? There is nothing wrong with that. We are all fine and should embrace our being transgender. And now I ask you all to raise your hands as a sign that we all will get through our struggle and find our way, because that is what we all are seeking and should never lose sight of that. You may now release hands, and now let us all bow our heads for a moment in tribute to our dear departed. I love each and every one of you, and just wish to say I am proud to be a part of this support group, as it has really changed my life in so many ways and has also saved me from my own hard-fought struggles. Thank you all for coming, and thank you all for your show of love and support in recognition of Transgender Day of Remembrance. I now would like to read a short poem that expresses something I have experienced in my own life, and then I will pass the stage to the next distinguished speaker. Now, for my poem, Cried in His Arms. I lived all my life trying to find opportunities where I could work towards achieving what I always intended to, with hopes that I could shine each time. I was a perfectionist, without a clue of what I was doing, haha. I didn't know what I truly wanted in my life. I had an idea based upon things impressed upon me in my youth. To be honest with you, I was scared and felt all alone, despite the fact I came from a loving home. I was trying to fit an image of what I thought I should be, denying myself my true feelings. This made me question my life many times, where I felt all ranges of emotions. I was always trying to make the grade, to succeed in all that I attempted. I was always afraid to fail, to fall short of the desired objective. I was programmed to be something that felt alien to me. I at times wanted to cash my chips in and bid a fond farewell, but despite all my internal pain, I knew I couldn't travel that road. I was always the quiet kid, the kid that people never had a problem with, because I never said a word. The truth of the matter was that I was really messed up, but put up a veneer to overshadow the true person I knew was within me. I was always the sweet, quiet boy who hardly uttered a word. I was never seen for who I truly was. This caused me great psychological pain and sorrow within my heart, and I just couldn't figure out why everything was such an incredible challenge for me. I felt I had to drag myself out of my self-imposed isolation to make a feeble attempt at being the guy I was trying to portray in my everyday life, because that was what was my birthright, and I had to live up to the standard of whatever that meant, even though I was truly failing at it. I was a total zero with the girls. I couldn't even buy a date. I was the wallflower at the dance clubs, looking at the pretty girls, admiring them, but my brain was not thinking right, and I had to talk to myself to convince myself I was a guy, when deep down inside I knew that was the furthest thing from the truth. I was sure I was seen as one, but in my heart I knew what I truly was. However, I couldn't tell anyone my secret. I had to pretend to be what was totally opposite. The guys didn't know what to make of me, and I was trying desperately to mimic them as best I could, when in my mind, heart, and soul, I wanted to slip into one of my dresses and look as pretty as I possibly could, crying desperately, knowing it would never be. And if it wasn't for my coach, I might not be here today, as he saved my life by recruiting me for his cross-country team. And when I asked him why at his 75th birthday reunion, he replied, I looked very conflicted, and I just cried in his arms. And this is me, as me now, and me as a little boy. And again, me as a little boy, and me now, and my speech. I love you guys. Emily of T-Girl Angel. Bye.